Tim, we'll be going live soon. Nice to see you. Welcome. We'll be going live soon. Okay. Hey guys, just in the chat, can you just tell me if you can hear me okay? And if there's any problems joining this meeting? I was expecting quite a few. Cool. Was there any problems joining the meeting? I was expecting a lot more people. I think I had an email automation and I think I might have messed it up. I sent it like a reminder 10 minutes before and an hour before, but I'm wondering if I maybe got one of the links wrong. Anyway, yeah, we'll be starting soon. Everyone that's in the chat, tell me where you're from. And you're more than welcome to put your cameras on if you want to interact. I'm in a place called Huntly up in Scotland, part of the UK. Huntly, surrounded by distilleries. That's what it's famous for. There's like 50 distilleries around here. I've been here since 2022, just after lockdown. Moved out of the city, Aberdeen, oil capital of Europe. And I'm based in Huntly in Scotland, but most of my clients are USA. So I know some of you guys are probably in the States. Just in the chat, let me know exactly where you're from. We'll get started. Let me get this timer away. Bring up my slides as well. This is going to be a fairly quick presentation, guys. I'm not going to keep you here long. I'm hoping to give you maximum impact. Where have we got? Tim, Louisiana, cool. And then Steve is in Croydon. I know where Croydon is. Well, kind of. I've heard of it. So yeah, we've got and Phoenix as well. Yeah, Phoenix, cool. Phoenix, Arizona. We took up a customer just recently, actually, Confuse Shooter, a guy called Joel. He's doing a little event shortly in Phoenix, one of our newest clients, actually. Okay, I'm going to just get started here. We've got 7 people on the call. We had 33 people registered. I was expecting a little bit better attendance, but we might have more people join. And we've only got 1 AI note taker, which is unusual. Okay, so we're going to learn here today, guys. Let me bring it up on the screen. Mozart, this was a rock star of the 17th century. Can you think of a rock star that you follow? Who's a favorite rock star that you've got in your head, in the chat? Put the name of that rock star. My own personal rock star, like the one I've always followed, is a guy called Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins. He's based out in Chicago. We've got Tim saying Aerosmith. Everyone's heard of these names: Smashing Pumpkins, Aerosmith, Mozart, which we've got an example of on the screen. I don't actually know why I used Mozart for this title, but the reason I'm going with this one is because there was a point in Mozart's career. I mean, he was like a child genius, basically. But before anyone knew he was famous, he had this amazing skill, this amazing talent, but nobody knew who he was until his dad basically exploited him and took him on a tour around royalty and aristocrats in Europe. But now, if you mention the name Mozart or Jimi Hendrix, as we've got here from Steve, everybody knows that name. They can immediately in their head think of the type of music that the artist plays. That is the whole purpose of today's webinar. Your IT business might be a little bit like Mozart, okay? You might have an amazing team, you might have an amazing skill set, but you kind of feel like you just don't have your name out there like it could be. You could be like Mozart in that 1-bedroom apartment back in the 17th century before he was famous. So the purpose of this webinar is really to make your IT business, your company name, and your name, if anyone in the sort of local business market mentions your name, everyone in the room knows exactly who it is you are and what you do. And as a result of that, you kind of get more sales meetings in the diary. So that's what I'm going to show you, how you can do this. We're going to go on a digital tour, and I'm going to show you how you can do this specifically for your IT service business, cybersecurity business. That's who I work with. So it's very much framed around that. So some exciting information, but we've got to paint a picture for you guys, like what the local marketing landscape looks like at the moment. Like, how would you go on a digital tour to get your name out there? This slide here, some of you may be trying some of these. So you might have a really good website. I can knock off amazing websites now with Claude Code, Claude Cowork. I don't know if anyone's tried them yet. It's just amazing what you can do with those apps. I've heard of MSPs spending $20,000, $30,000 on a website. Others are paying $400 or $500 a month for their website, and that's not just the hosting. That's like the whole package. But it's potentially acting like a glossy brochure. You're spending all this money, and you're getting a trickle of leads. Then you've got number 2 here on the list. Like, you're posting out continually on LinkedIn. You maybe doing blog posts to gain the search engines, but you're just not seeing the traction there. You're just not getting the leads and the sales appointments in the diary. Number 3, social media. You may be posting out regularly on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it might be, but you're just not getting the engagement. And then number 4, you might be a little bit more advanced in your marketing strategy. You might have a lead magnet that's integrated onto your website. So when someone lands on your landing page, they enter their details, they get an ebook or a PDF, but it's still not driving the sales appointments that you would like in your business. And we've got, the more advanced strategy, and this is what I hear from IT businesses that come to me. They've tried all of these tactics. Things like LinkedIn automation, using a tool like Dripify. I've tried that one. I'm not sure if any of you guys have, where it basically does automated connection requests, sends out messages, and you can put them through a whole sequence. I tried it. I could get it to work. And usually when I'm on the receiving end of those types of bots, I kind of just ignore them. It's spammy. Then you've got cold email, to like instantly buy a couple of domains, warm up the domains, blast emails out to to a cold list. It can work, but are you going to get past the spam filters? And then another question for you in this is like a moral question. Are you actually selling an anti-spam solution as part of your tech stack? So you're at the same time as selling the solution, you could be part of the problem. So from a moral perspective, cold email doesn't really sit well with me. It's kind of like going and setting fire to someone's house, then knocking on the door and selling the fire extinguisher. Then you've got the old school tactics. Cold calling still works, but guess what? Speaking to a guy, Brian Gillette, he runs a sales training for MSPs. He tells me it takes one full-time cold calling member of staff working full-time to get 2 sales appointments in the diary every month on average. So there's quite a large resource required for cold calling. And then you've got old school tactics like direct mail. This works wonderfully, but as we kind of enter the era of hybrid work, it's much harder to get into the envelopes in the hands of the decision makers. There's been some fantastic work done in this space with Dan Kennedy and Robin Robbins' Technology Marketing Toolkit, but we're looking for more of a modern approach. And I've seen what direct mail can do, but everyone else has been using it for some time in the MSP space. So it's past its sell by date, truth be told. So what's the solution here? I've got a question for you guys. How have you grown your business to date? How have you got your existing clients? In the chat, let me know how you have got your existing clients. We've got Ryan, Tim, Steve, Miguel, Gurdeep, Jeremy, Matt, Asifar. Let me know how you've got your existing clients. Because when I ask this question, when an IT service business comes to me, 9 times out of 10, we've got Gurdeep, he's going to type something insightful. Existing relationships, exactly. It's who you know. 9 times out of 10, 99%. Who you know, word of mouth, referrals, or your business network. It's hardly ever through marketing leads. It's hardly ever through anything that you see on the screen, is it? So if you boil this down, and I've tried all of these tactics, like I've been like 6 years trying to figure out this for MSPs. That's yeah, Matt's got here, BNI Chamber events. That's what I was doing in 2012. I was a BNI, I was the secretary treasurer, and I was up there at the top table, the good old days selling cybersecurity services back in 2012. So, and it's taken me this long to figure this out. So I'm going to shortcut this for you guys. If you take that logic, that really, if you look at your business just now, most of your customers have come basically through relationships. The real question is, it's none of these tactics. It's how you can scale the relationship making process so that when someone mentions your name, everyone in the room knows exactly who you are. How do you do that in today's digital world with AI? Well, it's not about AI. It's about forming a relationship and doing that at scale. The best way to do this, and you're kind of on the receiving end of this right now, is through a webinar, okay? You're in a webinar right now. We're building a little bit of a relationship. Now, I know there is some, what's the word, objections to webinars. I hear that all the time. Like, webinars, Scott, really? And I'm going to go into that. But there are some cool things with webinars for MSPs. The first one I've kind of already covered. This is the REAP formula. You can start to build a relationship before that sales call, before the intro call, before taking them to lunch or buying a coffee. You can just start to build that relationship. That's the first piece of this puzzle. The second piece is you get to educate your prospects. And for you guys and girls, like, there's so much to educate them on. Like, what direction do you go? Do you go cybersecurity, managed services, AI? There's so many different things you can educate your prospects on. Because you've got that big tech stack, no amount of marketing is going to educate your prospects like a webinar can, because you've got 20 or 30 minutes of your prospect's attention in the room. So it's like a really important lever for a managed service provider. Then you've got entertain. I'm probably doing a terrible job of this right now. I have a few stories that I'll tell you a little bit later. But it's the oldest form of like human communication, like telling a story, entertain. And when you entertain people, they get to like you, and then they get to know you, and then they get to trust you. And that's how sales are won. That's how customers become customers. That's the foundation. And then the final one here, P, present. You get to present your offer. I'll be upfront. I do have an offer for you guys. I'm not going to go on like a whole 10-minute thing about it. It'll be quick. But you get to put in your next step there, what that next step's going to be. So that's why I love webinars. But as I mentioned, there's usually some big objections. Scott, I've tried webinars in the past. I couldn't get them to work. But the first one is like, yeah, I couldn't get people to register. I was actually speaking to a peer today about this. He was having this exact problem. I won't mention his name, but he had dropped like $300 in ads. He had one person register for his webinar. That's the first one. The second one is like, don't actually know what to sell in a webinar. Like, as a managed IT service provider, what would you sell? Like, and how would you sell it? And then the other one is like, for a lot of us, is like the fear of presenting. Like, I'm an introvert. First time I started doing this, I mean, BNI, Matt, is like brilliant to get you out of the space and chamber events, but a lot of us have a fear of presenting. And I do, sort of testify, BNI, that's the biggest thing that I got from BNI, was actually just being able to present like this. So that's the objections, and I'm going to solve them for you here, okay? So that you can run a webinar and you can be in front of 20 or 30 business owners every single month with ease. The first time you do this, you'll potentially be speaking to a room of one other person, maybe no one in it. But if you follow the steps I'm going to show you here, you will have 20, 30 people in the room. I do these webinars every week now. But yeah, start with a month or per quarter. Good place to start. So the first one, this is George. He runs, I think he's an account manager up for a Canadian MSP, F1 Tech, based in Canada. I was running his webinars back in March last year, and it was a cybersecurity webinar. And we were having a terrible time at getting people to register. We were running a little bit of an ad spend to this. So it wasn't just organic promotion, but we're paying something like 44 Canadian dollars. I don't know what that is in US dollars, but it was horrible. Like it was just because it just wasn't great. And a couple months later, we did a webinar, strangely about Copilot. Now, Copilot, I know not everyone loves it, but from an MSP's perspective, it's actually a really good filter mechanism. So like you're more than likely trying to attract in M365 customers. So it acts as quite a good filter. The cost per lead for the Copilot webinar, it was like $10 a lead. It was like a quarter of the cost. What's the difference between these two webinars? Simple, it's the topic. It's what's hot at the time. It's what's on trend. And this is exactly the problem the peer I had speaking today. They were running webinars for an MSP, cybersecurity webinars, and they just weren't getting the traction. And it's because, unfortunately, it's not a hot topic right now. There are much bigger topics that businesses want to hear about. Now, that being said, your topic for your webinar could be something. I mean, I think if you saw my ads, I advertise this on Facebook and Instagram. I mentioned Copilot for the webinar, and that's really just to get you guys in. But guess what? Having that topic drives people to register, drives local business to register, and it drives people to attend the webinar because it's something they want to find out about. So have a think about it from your perspective. If you were to run a webinar once a month or once a quarter, what would your topic be? What would your customers be interested in? Not what you want to talk about, okay? Not what the latest threats are in the cybersecurity space, but what would be interesting to them. In the chat, let me know what your topic would be. Okay, so that is a big lever when it comes to registering, getting people to register and getting people to attend. The second big lever is paying to play. Unfortunately, on social media, the way it works now is that if you're wanting to promote something, you really have to put in some ad spend to this, okay? And we've got here, what Steve's saying, how to streamline their monthly IT spend. I like that topic, Steve. Probably very relevant here in the UK right now, based on our economy. There are a few questions I have about that one though, but I'll get to that shortly. You have to pay to play with any promotion on social media now. So we run a little bit of an ad spend to all of our webinars. Doesn't have to be a lot, but this just shows you some stats. This was a webinar I did back in December. I only did one webinar in December. We had 232 people look at the landing page, and we had 76 people register onto the webinar at a cost of around about $5. So for an ad spend, we do the math on this, it was like $350, $400. We had 76 people register onto the webinar. So it can really boost the attendance in the room, the registrations in the room. The big problem I hear with this is like, Scott, excuse the French, why the hell are you advertising on Meta? I'm an MSP, I sell to businesses. I want to be advertising on LinkedIn, not Meta. And I shake my head at that and say, basically, Meta is the place to be. It's got far more advanced machine learning on the ad platform. I basically put up an ad and it works out exactly who to show the ad to, who's most likely to click the ad, and who's most likely to convert. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. So Meta is the place to be. And cool, yeah, LinkedIn's cool because you've got all this really good targeting, but you'll pay 4 times as much and you won't get as many people to register. And I've got the data to back this up. I can show you this, guys. I've tried both and I've failed at both as well. I've got a good story that I'll go into a little bit later on this, and the failures. Then the third thing we've got, but yeah, running an ad spend to your webinar, important. The third thing you got, what are you going to sell in the webinar? So Steve, you are going to be streamlining their monthly IT spend. That's what you want to talk about and how you are going to do that. So you'd be presenting, I guess, something around that topic. What are you going to sell them? Like, What's the next step going to be? What's the Trojan horse that you're going to offer them? This is a key lever in the MSP space. There's three that I see that work right now. First one is the one that I really like. It's a cybersecurity gap analysis. It's, it's looking at the existing infrastructure and figuring out where the holes are within it. And you're basically getting paid to write a proposal, poking holes in the existing cybersecurity setup. I love that one because it's so easy to do and everyone has improvements that they can make. The second one is the AI maturity assessment, where you basically pitch in saying, we'll come into your business and we'll make sure that you're set up for AI, probably from a more of a security perspective, so that there's an approved AI list. You're blocking potentially via Intune or through something like ThreatLocker, unapproved AIs, and then having just something basic like an AI policy in place. That's the start of this, but there's so much more in the AI space. I'm not going to get into that here today, but I can certainly show you what some of my clients are doing with AI. And then the third one is the old school one, the network audit, going in and speeding up the systems, or as what Steve's saying, looking at the IT spend. So Matt's saying here, yeah, free NIST SCF, but 2.0. This is obviously security related standards that I have no idea about because I'm a marketer now. But yeah, having a Trojan horse there, something that you can go into the business after the webinar, is something that's going to appeal to them, that they're going to go, yes, Scott, I want to buy this, or I want to, sign me up for this next step. It's just to get your foot in the door, get that Trojan horse in the door that's eventually going to lead to the managed service agreement. So having to think about the topic, running ads to the webinar, I can't stress that one enough, because if you promote this just organically, it's not going to go anywhere. First few times that I started doing these, I was presenting to a room of 0. And then obviously the Trojan horse, what your Trojan horse is going to be. Then we come into the third problem. This is Steve, runs TechCom Computers in Wiley, Texas. And I was doing his Google, his SEO, all of his sort of marketing stuff. And he was telling me that he joined the Chamber of Commerce. This is going back a couple of years now. And he was really nervous because he had to go and stand up in front of everyone in the room and just do a little pitch on his business. And he was telling me his hands were nervous. He was holding this piece of paper that he was reading from. We've all potentially been there. But I started doing these webinars myself in my business, and I started to see them work. I've got a room here, I think maybe 11 people in the room, maybe one AI note taker. But I started to see them work, and just doing this week after week, being able to get in front of all these business owners. I said, Steve, I really think you should do a webinar. And I knew he was going to kind of say no to it because he had this nervous thing about standing up in public speaking. Pretty much everyone has. Is this weird fact that more people are scared of public speaking than they are of death. That's crazy, but it's true. So I said, Steve, don't worry about it, man. We can flip the script here. You don't have to come on to the webinar, do a whole slide deck, and then pitch them with your Trojan horse offer. I'll take you on as the guest expert. So we run the ads to your local marketplace, and you come in and tell a story about one of your clients. And that's what he did. He came in and he told a story about a pharmaceutical client, and had a local server that crashed. All the patient data disappeared. So he came in, he told the story, and he told them how he recovered it, and why having backups is so important for business continuity. At the end of the webinar, when everyone left, he had a really big smile on his face because he realized he kind of gotten over that fear, and it was just a webinar. It was just having a Teams meeting like we're having now, but everyone's having to listen to him for 10, 15 minutes. And the fact that he told the story, it's the oldest form of communication. And I mean, that's what I'm telling you right now, telling you the story about Steve here. That's how people really connect, is through stories. So telling the story about it, I mean, it's just, one of your clients and how you help them is a really good place to start with these. So what have we covered then? The cool things with webinars, okay? The REAP formula. You can build a relationship, you can educate, you can entertain, and you can present your offer. The objections. How to get people to register, make sure you got a hot topic that's on trend. Like I give you one from November. We did one on AWS outage, and that was pretty hot because there was so much stuff that went down. So make sure you got a hot topic. Make sure that you are running ads to your webinar. Don't just push organically because you'll end up with 2 people in the room. Trust me, I know. Do both. And then number 3 here, make sure you tell a story in the webinar, ideally about one of your clients, something that's happened, something that you can evidence, just like I'm doing here, to give your business that credibility factor so that it's not just full of waffle and information. Having that story is golden. This is my offer to you guys. 2 options. Option 1, you can join the school group, school.com/MSP. Or option 2, you can work with me directly. You can put some time in my diary just to know I do charge for these calls. And it's purely so that I don't get tire kickers. That's what it is. There's so many people that are just kicking tires and they're not interested in growing their IT business. The option 1, this is more for like, if you're wanting help, if you want to implement this yourself, I can guide you through this with group calls and a system that I've got. I give you my standard operating procedure for running webinars. Option 2 is more of a managed option where we will help you come up with the topic and run your ads for you, manage your ads, manage the promotion, build the landing pages, the thank you sequence, the reminder sequence, all of that stuff. There's a roast as well where we'll actually roast you to make sure that your presentation is going to hit and it's actually going to be able to open up your calendar for sales appointments. So that's the 2 options I've got for you guys. I will put the links in the chat. I'll quickly show you the school group if you're not already in it. If I can figure out how to get to it. There we go. This is the community. In the classroom, you'll have access to all these. The Copilot Library Roadmap. This takes you from prospect to project, specifically for Copilot, okay? This will show you how you can get project work in the diary using webinars and the types of projects potentially to deliver. There's a monthly marketing collateral. That's all webinar based. I have one new webinar every single month with our managed clients. We take the best one and we put it in there so that you don't have to come up with the content yourself. AI SEO on the weekend, and this is basically all the hot tips to get your website mentioned by ChatGPT. There is the MSP Near Me IT Directory. You'll get a listing in there. MSP Video Academy. This is a course that I did about how to do videos for your MSP, like short form video every day. There's some private label books. There's also my books, and there's a marketing vault of 8 years worth of MSP marketing material. That is all in the group. And we have like a weekly call as well, where I can help you in a group session implement webinars for your business. So that's the offer, guys. But I want to kind of, before we go into the sort of Q&A, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit of another story. This is about me. This is about me back in 2011, 2012. I thought I was a hot shot. I was a senior systems engineer for an MSP in Aberdeen here in Scotland, a company called Dynamic Edge. And I was going down to London to do these IT projects. When I came back, I thought, oh man, this can't get any better. I'm at the top of my game technically. And I looked around the room in the office when I got back, and I looked at the service delivery manager. He's a little bit older than me, about 10 years. And I was like, if I'm wanted to change the trajectory of my career and the wealth in my business, in my life, or in my career, I'm really gonna have to change internally. I'm gonna have to push myself. So I stepped out of the server room. I looked away from the event viewer log and I went into MSP sales. That step, that challenge, like it was such a huge change for me to do that. But I realized then that making that change internally was going to just completely, and it has completely transformed the way that my career and where my business is now, purely through that change internally in my head. The same is true for your marketing methods and how you're growing your business at the moment. It's an internal change in your head. There's a switch in there somewhere that needs to change. Once that's changed, everything else will change for you. And if you follow the system that I've got up here in the screen, you're going to have, just like I've got here, I've got 11 people plus one AI note taker in the room. I usually actually get around about 20 or 30 people in the room. This week, the ads haven't been going as well. We'll be looking at that in the group on next week's call. So that's a little story about me. I'm open to questions. You guys and girls are more than welcome to turn on your mics or your cameras. There shouldn't be any restrictions there. Or if you just want to use the chat facility, you can use the chat. So yeah, if you've got any questions, put them in. One question I get that comes up quite a bit is like, how long should I promote my webinars for? Like, how long should I run ads? I found that, and I learned this the hard way. This is like half the reason for like both of these options is so that you don't make all the same mistakes I did. So it was January last year. I was running. I said I realized the power of this. I'm going to run ads for the whole month. I'm going to start January 1st, and I'm going to have my webinar at the end of the month. I run them for 4 straight weeks. It's going to be brilliant. There's going to be so many people that are going to register onto this. So that's what I did. I had something like 200 people register for the webinar over the course of the whole month. Guess how many people turned up? There's probably less people that's in this webinar right now. There's about 8 people turned up. And that was because I basically promoted it for too long. So the people near the start of the month, they forgot that they actually registered to the webinar. So after doing this sort of the last, 2 years now, I figured out 7 days is the optimal time to be running these webinars. So if you're running ads, 7 days is optimal. Putting all of your ad spend in there. That's a question that always comes up. So yeah, guys, I'm happy to take any more questions. But if there aren't any questions, as far as I can see you're typing something. But if there's no more questions, I guess you guys are all good. You're like experts at webinars. Maybe I should be asking you. Maybe I made it too easy for you. If I turn my screen, my slides off, go back to me. There we go. I'm actually pumping this out onto LinkedIn as well. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay, Asper's got many are with jobs because of AI too. I'm not sure if that is a question, man. Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Okay, cool. So you're just starting out then, Asper. That's cool. Out of interest, where did you hear about this webinar? Where did you guys hear about this? Was it through an email? Was it on LinkedIn? Was it a Facebook or an Instagram ad? Yeah, Facebook. That's exactly where I advertise. And I'll show you the stats. Let me go into the ads here. Bring up my ad account for you to see. We should maybe just go into some of the stats in this area. I don't know if this would interest you. I love geeking out on this stuff, but okay. Ads manager. Here we go. And bring it up for the. Here we go. Let's see here. All right, so this is, it's basically called an evergreen app because I just let it run all the time. This is the last 30 days. It's been shown to 40,000 people, and it's just spent shy of £1,000. It's like about $1,500. For that cost, I've had almost 1,000 people go to the landing page. And the important stat here is I've had 196 people actually sign up for my webinars. I think I've done, this will be my third. So this is, yeah, this will be my fourth webinar in this month, this 30-day period. So I've had almost 200 people register for the webinar. The big thing with this, unlike unlike Google ads, where you're basically paying for a click, with this, you're capturing the email address, it's going into your CRM, so you can nurture them over time, and you're building an asset in the business. So it's not just like a lost click that goes into the marketing ether or Mark Zuckerberg's pocket. You're actually buying data. So you're buying warm opt-ins for people that actually want to hear from you. And that's why I love doing this. So there's obviously the benefit of the webinar, but there's also the other benefit of you actually building up an email list that you can sell to. So that's why I love these. Guys, I'm going to leave it there if there's no more questions. Really appreciate your time, guys. Tim, Gurdeep, Asafar, Ryan, take it easy. I'm going to catch you guys later. Gurdeep, you're mentioning, yeah, personal emails. So this is a little trick for you. On the landing page, ask for the work email address. See here, it's asking for the work email address. That filters out a lot of people that are just, yeah, a lot of junk. So specifically ask for the work email address. Anyway, take it easy. Check out the group. I'll see you in there. And yeah, thanks for your time.